In this video, I'm going to walk you through on how to create a fully reusable button design system in Figma step by step. Hi, I'm Raphael, and I'm a UI UX designer at Autobridge Studio. If you have ever struggled to make buttons in Figma that works across all states, like your hover, your press state, your disable states, or even your icon toggles, then this tutorial is for you. I will show you how to create one smart button component that can handle all of these states, so your workflow becomes faster, cleaner, and way more consistent across all your design projects. Whether you are designing for a web or your project is for mobile or SaaS, this method will save you time and make your files easier to maintain. So are you ready to level up your Figma skills? Let's dive in. As you can see, what I have here is list of icon I've picked for this tutorial purposes and our button. What I'm going to do next is we are going to create a frame. So we are going to select our frame and draw out our frame. That is the first step we are going to take. So let me just position this in a proper way. Yeah, let me zoom in a little bit. I'm selecting, let me change this frame to, let's call it button. Let's call our frame button. Yeah, so next you are going to select your text and write it. So select your text and write it button. Yes, button. So what you're going to do now is to turn this text into an auto layout. So you're going to turn this into an auto layout. And how you can turn this into an auto layout is you're going to select your Shift A from your keypad, and this text will be turned to an auto layout. So let's do that. As you can see, it has been turned to auto layout. The text is now by your left hand side. You see auto layout panel has been created at our left hand side, and the text is centered. So what we're going to do next is we are going to the vertical padding and the horizontal padding by default is in 10 pieces each. It's 10 pieces each. So I'm going to change it. I would like to leave the vertical padding to be, first of all, let's change the corner radius to be 100. So I'm leaving the corner radius of the button to be 100. Let's add a fill color. Let's add a fill color of the text. You are going to pick your picker tool and select the color. A minute is blocking it, so let me bring the color closer. This is our default color, so I'm going to select the color, copy it, and come to our button and paste it. Yes, as you can see, the corner radius of the button is 100 corner radius. So I just want to leave it that way. Yes, so what you're going to do next is I want to make the height of this button to be 42. I want to make the height to be 42. Yes, make the height to be 42, and we are going to leave it to fixed height. Why you are leaving it at fixed height? Later on you understand why you are leaving it in fixed height, not hub container. Once it's in fixed height, anything you put on the button, the height of the button remains intact. Like when you put an icon, it remains intact. So the text, we are going to change it to be white. Yeah, you can see the button is taking shape. Now let me position this button. Now what I'm going to do next is to write out what we are going to be needing. Normal properties for this button, we're supposed to have primary, we have our secondary button and our text button. In some other cases, you can create your elevated button, your toggle button, but for this tutorial purposes, we are going to just create 3 types of button: secondary, primary, and our text button. So let's quickly do that. Now we are going to create our button state, like our hover state, our click state, and our disable state. So let's quickly change the text to our, I'm going to leave the first one to be our default state, then this will be our hover state. This is going to be our hover state. The next will be our clicked state, and then our disable state. So let's quickly align the buttons to all the states we have. Let's quickly do that. So we have positioned all our buttons. So what next? The only thing I did here was just to use the color library we have picked for this color to set the buttons. So there's no magic there. So from here now we are going to start adding our icons to the button. So that's what next to do. Next we are going to start adding our icons to the button. So what I'm going to do next is to turn this our icon into a component so that we can be able to create instance swap of the icon. What I mean by instance swap of the icon, so that whenever you pick a button, you can change any icon you want to change. So I'm going to select all the icons and turn it into a component. Let's quickly do that. So we're going to come to our component and click the drop down button. The drop down button, we're going to click it. We are going to create a multiple component, not create component. You are going to create a multiple component. By doing so, each icon will be a standalone component on its own. As you can see, the icon has been turned to a component with this pinkish color. It shows that this icon has been turned to a component, so that you can be able to make use of the instance swap property in the future. So we are going to copy our home icon and select all the buttons. And paste. Now we have pasted all. We are going to Now I'm still going to add one more icon, but let's select logout, or let's select the settings icon. We're going to copy it and still do the same thing. Select all the button properties, and we're going to paste our setting icon. Yes. So as you can see, our button is selecting this home icon. I tried selecting all the machine icon, and why it did not select is because all these buttons are not component yet. So we are going to select all the buttons to turn them into a component. Then we'll try selecting the home again. So we are going to click down and create a component set. You see, we have created a component set. You can see the pinkish line around the button. It shows that all the buttons are now a component set. Yes, let's draw out one of the buttons here. You can see we have only our default. So what we are going to do from here is to start setting all the properties of the buttons. You can see nothing is happening there. Now let us select the home icon again. We're going to double click and select the home icon again, and select all the matching home icon again. You can see we have selected it. We have targeted all the home icon. So what we are going to do from here is to create an instance swap property of the home icon. So from here we are going to name it icon. Let's change the name of the icon. We are going to change it to icon right swap. So the value is in home. You can change any icon you want from here, but we're going to leave it at that. And if you want to add a specific icon, maybe you have a list of icon, bunch of icon, you can come here and select all the icon you want to be showing whenever you want to change icon of the home this thing. But we're going to leave it like that because we have fewer icon, and we're going to create an instance swap of the home icon. I'm going to create an instance swap of the home icon. So we're going to do the same thing for the settings. We are going to target all the settings icon and do the same thing also. You see here, let's target the machine settings, and we're going to create an instance swap. We are going to call it, it's supposed to be icon left, but it we have done icon right before, icon left swap. So let's check what we have done if it's working. So let's change it to home. As you can see, it's working. So from here now, what we're going to do next is we want to have a situation where we can toggle off the icon, because we cannot have two icons on one button. So we are going to select machine layer of the home icon. We are going to come down to where display that is say appearance, and you are going to click apply variable. We are going to click it and add. We are going to click the plus button. By default, we want to leave this icon to be true. This home icon, we want to leave it to be true. So we are going to write icon left toggle. It's supposed to be icon left toggle. So what I'm going to do from here is to select the home button and come to the appearance side and turn it to a boolean property. By default, we are going to leave it to be true. So let's quickly rename it by calling it icon toggle left. and we'll leave the value to be true. So let's select the second icon and select all the machine layer and come to our appearance panel. So let's create a property. We'll call it icon right toggle, and by default we are going to make it to be false so that the settings icon don't show. So let's quickly create that. We don't have the icon showing on our button, but we can toggle it on from our button. We'll come to here that say property one. Let's call it button state. Let's call it button state. Let's call it button state. Now what we are going to do now, you are going to select this primary. You are going to select the rows or this button in the first row of the primary button. So let's select all the buttons in the primary row and let's call it primary. And we'll go to the secondary row. We select all the buttons there and we'll call it secondary. Let's do the same thing for the test button. I'll call it test. So let's check whether what we did, whether it has taken effect. So our button state will now have test, secondary, and our primary button. So what is remaining now is for us to align our default, our hover, and our click state. So what you're going to do, you are going to select this component and come to the properties. You are going to select and come to the properties and click add property. Then we are going to come and select the variant of our component. So let's call it button types. Button type. As you can see, we have created it. We have our button state, our button type here. So let's fix our default, our hover, and our click state. So let's select all the buttons in our default state and let's leave it as default for now. Then let's select our buttons in our hover state. Let's call it hover. Click state. And let's do the same thing for our disabled state. I'm going to call it disabled. Let's check if what we did has taken effect. As you can see, we have our button. Let's go to our primary state. So our button is our primary state. Let's change our button type. Let's change our button type to. So from here, we're going to quickly adjust some button colors to match what we are designing. That. So what next we do? We want to have a property that will target this button. What you are going to make sure you select the button text and select the machine layers and select all the machine layers. Then we'll come here and apply our variant so we can be able to change the button text. Say by default we are going to call it label and we're going to leave it to be button. Then let's create the property, our text property. So from here now you can see we have our label and our button. We can change the name of the button. Let's call it sign up. As you can see, we have our sign up. We have our sign up here. As you can see, our button has taken shape. Remember that this color, you can adjust your color in your color panel, your icon button. Let's duplicate another button and create different state of the button. Let's toggle off. Let's call this contact us. Contact us. What I'm doing now, I'm just playing with the buttons. I'm just playing with the buttons. You can change your icon, you can change whatever you want. So guys, if you find this tutorial very helpful while I'm playing with the button, you can give a thumbs up for the video, you can share the video, you can subscribe to the channel so that whenever we post any video, you'll be the first to get notification of the video. Please let's like the video and share. If there's any topic you want me to treat, I'll take out my time to treat it. For meantime, let's just play with the button. You can see with this simple button design system you have created, you can use it across all your design projects. You just have to have it. What you do is just drag the button and drop, whether it's for web, whether it's for an app. And do what you need to do is change the color of your project you are working on and the icons you are working on. So thank you for watching. See you next time.